couples have families, and even then, like there are a lot of European men, and they settle down there, but it's very different, and I didn't really. I think it's a place that a lot of couples, like international couples, live and
Mhm.
do very well in, and like
Yeah.
really enjoy like the lifestyle and everything. But very few permanently stay there.
Okay. Yeah. It's nice. I haven't been there since almost 20 years now.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
So it's been a while.
it's a very different place.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. So what made you want to start a dating app? I actually thought about that one time, but once I started doing all the numbers and what it would take.
Yeah.
And
No,
I was
you need
like,
a war chest. Yeah, which is the conclusion I also came to. It was actually on the heels of me moving back. A good friend of mine, while I was at Publicis Sapient, he was the MD of China, and we had done a lot of work together and became good friends. He's South African, and he had been an expat as well for about 30 years between the States and Europe and Asia. And he was in Shanghai, and about 6 months before I moved to the States, he moved back to South Africa. And we were both kind of going through this like very intense reverse culture shock of really the thing about being an expat, and as it is, I was already a multinational. I'm not even, I was born in the UK, my family's Indian by way of East Africa for 3 generations. I'm already an outsider everywhere and nowhere to a certain degree. But like he had been gone for 30 years. So the thing about being an expat is that it is an amazing experience, particularly, a couple years here and there, no big deal. But if you're gone for 5-10 years plus, you become a different person.
oh yeah.
And that is also a permanent experience, which a lot of people struggle with on the back end. And that is just, part of the price of living, an adventurous international life. And so we were both, and he was single as well. And so we were both going through like the same kind of bewilderment of dating in our home countries and the nonsense of the dating apps. And he, like me, was very conscientious and conscious of, a lot of issues, international and local. He's a very empathetic man. And we had just been, really talking about like, why are these dating apps, like there really isn't any kind of curation. All they're really saying is you're a warm body, they're a warm body, you're in a certain radius, you're in a certain age group, discuss. And it's like, since when has anything else, everything else in your life is like relatively like curated, or at least like there's a commonality. And so I still met like nice men, but I was just like, wow, this is gonna take a while, because then there were like, I was seeing all these guys in like, tank tops, like all muscly, taking photos and
Oh shit!
And I was like, what is this nonsense? Yeah. I'm like, I can't take a man like this seriously.
A lot of that.
Like, I was just like, I don't find this attractive. I'm like, I'm glad you work out, but you're too old to be taking these type of selfies. Like, put on a shirt. Like, I don't want to see this. And so it was a lot of that, and I was just like, oh gosh, like we're gonna be here for a while. And so it really just happened as he and I were catching up and just sort of shooting ideas around, and that's how it started. Also, so we actually started together as co-founders, but being, it was COVID, he was in Cape Town, I was, in the States, and it became too difficult. So he pulled out, and I had already moved to LA at the time. I think had he pulled out and I hadn't moved to LA yet, I wouldn't have moved. I would have stayed in Florida. But I just think like, there were greater reasons for me being there. And, if I were still there, yeah, I'd be very angry and miserable, but gladly I'm not. So, bygones.
Yeah. So overall, have you had a good experience on dating apps? I have a good experience.
I've never really met I've only maybe had like one bad date. Like I've had a number of men have become friends of mine as well. Like some of my very dear friends have come from dating apps. Yeah, I have, like, some of my boyfriends have come from dating apps. Like I have had. It's just, you know, before I had far more. Like, that being said, I'm kind of on a dating app now, but like I never open it. You know, but like every time I get a notification of like a happy hour or something, I'm like, ugh. Like I have no motivation right now. They do take up a lot of time. They are very, very distracting. They are another type of video game or social media in a way. I find them, like, the conversations, it's just very stiff. And that becomes very exhausting. Like, I would much rather prefer to meet somebody in real life. So, you know, at different points in my time, they have played bigger roles in my life. They do not play a bigger role in my life right now.
No, because you don't really need it, because you're in the States. But now, the reason why I asked that, because I found that when you're, like, in a lot of these other countries, it's not as easy to meet people versus being in the States, versus being in the UK. You know, so that's one reason why a lot of people use dating apps, because they say, hey, I'm in Japan, a place where, you know, people don't talk to each other on the streets, you know, like that. They, you know, so it's like, you know.
No, in that respect, they're amazing. And I have, you know, and I used to use them on business trips, and, you know, like, you meet great people. Yeah. You know, America is definitely a much friendlier country in that respect. I mean, I don't, but still, like, we don't, you know, people used to have more game in the 90s.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like, you know, like, I miss the days when, like, a man could just approach you at a bar. Like, I really miss that. Like, you know, now it's sort of like that doesn't happen as much. And it's like, it's a shame, because it would at least be fun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree with that. I think, I don't think we're ever going back to the way it was in the 90s. I don't think so.
We didn't appreciate it at the time.
No, we didn't.
Like, the 90s were all right.
Yeah, it was, you know. So, I mean, I guess it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like the pandemic kind of made you say, hey, I'm going to just move back over here to the States. Was it, or it was a combination of things, or you were thinking about it even before that?
No, luckily it happened before. Okay. I actually basically missed the pandemic and got out about 6 months early. It was actually like, I burned out is what happened. It wasn't, you know, in one respect, it wasn't lucky. I had a great job. Like, I was with Adobe. It was a tough job, but like, it was a big job. I was growing a lot in it. You know, it was really, that was the job I was so proud of. And I felt in so many ways I had finally reached this level of my career that I had really, I wasn't going to stop there, but it was certainly a milestone. And I was learning so much at that company, and everybody was so intelligent. And it, you know, and it sucked, and I was getting paid, and, you know, but I was exhausted. I was physically, mentally, spiritually, and I was lonely. I don't think I realized how lonely I was. There was no normal, because I basically moved to Asia as I separated from my ex-husband. So there was nothing to compare it to. I had been married from 24 to 31, and then went from Miami to Bangkok, you know, on a one-way ticket, and then just rebuilt my life in Asia. So it was like, there wasn't anything to compare it to. It wasn't, and I was meeting a lot of people, and I did, you know, date some interesting men, and, you know, I was making friends. I was learning a lot. I was traveling all over. But at the same time, you know, after almost a decade, like, nothing had really, like, it never felt like home. And, you know, and then, like, and my parents were aging, and it was like, you know, I didn't want to get a phone call. And, you know, and I was just like, it's not, and at that point in time also was like, even though I was so proud of the career I was finally had achieved, once you achieve it, to a certain extent, it's also, I could have stayed on that track for another decade. in another decade. And it's just like, at the same time, it was like I was learning a lot, but I wasn't like truly that passionate about it. Like, and there were times where I was just like, I have to say digital transformation one more goddamn time. Like, you know, to a certain extent, I just felt like, you know, like dancing, like, you know, intelligent corporate Barbie. And I was just like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. Like, sometimes you need to achieve it to see, like, to prove it to yourself. And I was proud of myself, but to also know that, like, all right, this is good, but I want something else now.
Yeah. I think I work I used to work at Bank of America. I did that for like 8 years, and after a while, I hate this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I can't keep going like this. So I just decided. That's when I came online.
Oh, nice.
That's when I came online. And
how long ago was that?
That was 2006 when I came online for the first time.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, and then over, you know, probably I transitioned out like 5 years later, 2011, and then I ended up moving to Atlanta for like 11 years, and then the pandemic hit, and then I moved to North Carolina, and I've been here ever since.
I think everyone's got like a pandemic story and like pandemic years, you know, in the aftermath. But I think like it did really wake us all up. You know, just everything really, like, it really disrupted all our lives, and we had to, you know, there was internal conflict and strife and, you know, real introspection, but there was also, you know, a lot of external changes. I mean, you know, even just the job markets, the economies, politics, you know, government wars. Like, this has been a crazy 5 years, a crazy 5 years.
Yeah, it's been wild, you know. But, you know, at the time, when everything was shutting down, well, in Atlanta, things shut down for like a month and then it opened back up.
It's like Miami.
Yeah, because the governor was getting death threats.